Welcome to Tajlyn Talks and Tunes, episode number 2, the podcast series where we discuss topics influenced by the journey of being human and play songs that we have written along the way. I am your host, Tajlyn, and this is my co-host, bandmate, and sister, Casandra.
Hello, hello.
You can help support us in this podcast by joining our Patreon page at patreon.com/Tajlyn. That is patreon.com/TAJLYN. Welcome, welcome. Today's topic is tiny house living. Now, I don't know if many of you know us or are familiar with what we do, how we live. We live very tiny. We are tiny women who live in, trailers. It's evolved. Like, we aren't the smallest that we've been now. Like, we've lived in much tinier spaces.
Yep.
But we wasn't like this from the beginning. We grew up in the suburbs in a house, 1-story house.
Yeah, ranch style in the suburbs, probably, I don't know, 8,000, maybe 1,000 square feet, well, with the additions and everything.
Yeah.
And then I bought, my ex and I bought a house when we were 20. That was a 1,500 square foot house.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 4-bedroom, full, pretty big basement.
Yeah. Yeah, and I moved in when I was 18 with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And that was actually bigger than the house we grew up in, so...
It was, yep.
Yeah.
And Mom and Dad built a 4,000 square foot house.
Yeah, which I lived in 5 years after graduation. 7 years after graduation. Yeah, for 7 years. And then, well, when I was in my 20s, I actually discovered van life. And I thought that was the freaking coolest thing. And I was trying to figure out, I could imagine myself doing it. The only thing is, how do I incorporate the band room into a tiny van? Because I had keyboard, bass, huge bass amp, I had guitars, guitar amps, drum sets, you name it, recording equipment, and I was like thinking, how is this possible? And I started to downsize from there.
Mm-hmm.
In a way. First starting with clothing, got rid of my bed, just knickknacks and things that I never use. And then getting down to just one guitar, or the foot kit that folds up. So it's a drum set that's actually the size of a bass drum.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, what about you? Are you still I'm still downsizing too.
It just becomes a continuous thing. Yeah, I definitely had a downsize. That's part of in Tajlyn Travels. Still hasn't been fully released yet, but in that series, we were documenting downsizing and moving out of our parents' house into Teeny, the 15-foot trailer that Taj and I ended up living in for several years together.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a downsize. Like the first downsize was really when your name's gonna come up as the ex. When the ex and I moved out of, we left the house that we bought and we jumped around a little bit, but the next biggest place, we were in a pretty big cabin up in California and stayed there for almost several years. And when we had to downsize out of that, it was a lot of selling, like selling cars, selling all the big stuff. That's the thing, when you go to downsize, you make a good amount of money at those garage sales, because you're even at selling stuff way below its original value. You're still, if you have a lot of stuff, you're going to make some money. And that's kind of became not necessarily motivation, but this is kind of a nice perk of getting rid of my stuff, and just, people want it so bad because it's a deal, and then you're making money, and then you feel lighter because you're not having to carry the stuff around, because there's no way to carry it around in a smaller space, and then you've got some extra cash in hand to help kind of live.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was not one to be able to handle the stress of selling, so I thrifted pretty much anything that was not a musical instrument. Mm-hmm. Because all the musical instruments, I could go to Guitar Center and I get half of what it's worth, but I know when I go there, I'm leaving without it, and I've downsized.
Right.
Yeah, I was fine with thrifting my clothes or just trinkets that, I don't use at all.
Yeah.
Whether it be Goodwill or give it to somebody that I know who needs it, anything of that nature. But there's a lot of thrifting going on. And the only selling was like going to the music stores to sell my musical gear for me. So
right after this last trip we took a month ago back to our parents, and even just seeing how much I still have sitting there, and then seeing how much I have just in my storage space, and I know I've had to leave stuff.
But you've downsized quite a bit.
I've downsized a lot. There's still a lot more downsizing to do from that initial leaving. A lot of it, there's still what do you do with that nostalgic Popples doll, or, the game, or, I've got VHSs. Some of them I'm like, okay, there's this, you've already got it. If you give it away, is it going to show back up? And I've heard the saying, if you throw it out, you can apply it to anything. If you throw something away, if it comes back to you, it's meant to be, or whatever. And I found, like, especially kind of quote-unquote losing my movie collection, it was a very irksome thing when I split with the ex. But I found out a lot of those movies, and then some, came back to me in some way, shape, or form. Like, they were just available for me to watch, and I don't have to have them. Yeah. So it's like, well, I don't have to hold in the space, but it's always, if I want to watch it, it seems to show up. And a lot of stuff is kind of doing that. So my journey to downsizing has, I guess, go different transitions through the years. I'm looking at our little list of bullet points, and we're already kind of talking about that. I think about, I went the past few years after, I wanted to write an article about it, but the day he said, fuck you, fuck this marriage, fuck this relationship, after that, there was this full let go of, like, I just don't want anything. And I ignored a lot of my belongings, but I found myself in this very... Bro. Let's not play. I found myself in a space of just not wanting to put any energy into anything and let everything go. So to go beyond its to go beyond tiny house living, I don't know if beyond's the right word, evolve past tiny house living for a moment and let everything go to where I need nothing, I want nothing, I'm just here, and I ended up in someone else's space only to come back to tiny house living, and I want my own space.
Well, I recall when I was downsizing and getting rid of a bunch of clothing and asking, friends and whatnot if they need something, and then telling people what I wanted everything, like, I'm getting rid of a lot of my clothes, and then one of my coworkers was like saying, that's the first sign of being super depressed and suicidal.
Yeah.
If you'd like to listen to the rest of this podcast and musical performance, just join our Patreon page for just $1 a month, or you can purchase the whole entire podcast for $3. The links are down below in the description. Any purchase that you do helps us out greatly, helps us keep going, and we really appreciate it. Thank you so much.